simply will not function. And it certainly won't help the organism to survive. Indeed, having a half-formed and hence non-functional system would actually hinder survival and would be selected against. The Holy Quran teaches us, He is the originator of the heavens and the earth. When He decrees a thing, He only says to it, be, and it is. Chapter 2, verse 118.
Origin of life is best described as the physical and chemical processes that brought into existence the first self-replicating molecules. Origin of life theories cannot rely on natural selection to increase complexity, and they must instead create life using only the laws of chemistry and physics.
Regarding the origin of life, the Holy Quran states, Who has created 7 heavens in stages? No incongruity can you see in the creation of the gracious God. Then look again. Do you see any flaw? Aye, look again, and yet again. Your sight will only return to you tired and fatigued, having seen no incongruity. The Holy Quran, chapter 67, verses 4 and 5. This vision of creation leaves no room for an ungoverned and unguided course of evolution. In fact, the entire scheme of things, both biotic and prebiotic, are sketched by the Holy Quran as a coherent plan of order, completely devoid of chaos. Dawkins almost admits this. All appearances to the contrary, the only watchmaker in nature is the blind forces of physics, albeit deployed in a very special way. From Richard Dawkins in his book, The Blind Watchmaker.
There are so many problems with the purely natural explanation for the chemical origin of life on Earth that many scientists have abandoned all hopes of ever proving that life had a natural origin on this planet.
Scientific American editor John Horgan wrote, If I were a creationist, I would cease attacking the theory of evolution and focus instead on the origin of life. This is by far the weakest strut of the chassis of modern biology.
Professor Panaparuma writes in his book Evolution from Space, We now have strong evidence of life on Earth 3.8 billion years ago. This brings the theory of the origin of life on Earth into a very narrow range. We are now thinking in geochemical terms of instant life.
Remember the end of verse 196 of chapter 7, which states, Then contrive ye all against me, and give me no time.
Sometimes scientists try to lead us to believe that they have understood the origins of life. For example, the National Academy of Sciences writes, The question is no longer whether life could have originated through chemical processes. The question has now become, which of the many pathways could have been followed to produce the first cell? A more accurate statement would be to admit that there is currently no known chemical pathway to explain the many steps in the origin of life, including how an RNA world turned into a DNA protein world. Somewhere along the line it is said that RNA turned into DNA, which is the main genetic molecule of all life today. How did this happen? In reality, no one has a clue. This complicated scenario is well presented by biologist John Maynard Smith.
The origin of the DNA code is perhaps the most perplexing problem in evolutionary biology. The existing translational machinery is at the same time so complex, so universal, and so essential that it is hard to see how it could have come into existence or how life could have existed without it. It's as though everything must happen at once, the entire system must come into being as one unit, or it is worthless. There may well be ways out of this dilemma, but I don't see them at the moment. The noted scientist who discovered the structure of DNA, Francis Crick, said, The origin of life appears to be almost a miracle. So many are the conditions which would have had to be satisfied to get it going. Again, we read in the Holy Quran, "Do they not reflect within themselves that Allah has not created the heavens and the earth and all that is in between the two, but in accordance with the requirements of wisdom and for a fixed term? But many among men believe not in the meeting with their Lord." Chapter 30, verse 9.
The Darwinian mechanism is incapable of generating the specified complexity found in biological organisms. It follows that chance and necessity are insufficient for the natural sciences, and that the natural sciences need to leave room for a creator. The Holy Quran makes a wide range of observations covering the entire span of the creative process, pertaining to both the evolution of life and the preparatory stages preceding it. The word Rabb in Arabic, translated as Lord in English, invariably means someone who evolved something from a lower